Last week, I told you that real transformation begins with a change in how you see. But the moment I said that, you may have asked the very question I had to ask myself. If my perception was that distorted for that long, if I could be that wrong about God for that many years, how am I? How do I know I'm not just trading one illusion for another? Supposed to trust my perception now? That's not a small question. That's the question. Because if there's no way to know what's actually true, then nothing we talk about in this series matters. So before we go one step further, we need to stop and answer it. More than 30,000 Christian groups. They can't all be right. Here's a number that should bother you no matter what tradition you grew up in. More than 30,000 distinct Christian groups, all reading the same Bible, all claiming to follow the same Jesus, and yet they disagree about almost everything. About who God is, about what He requires, about who's saved and who isn't, about how the Christian life is supposed to look. They can't all be right, and if they can't all be right, then a lot of sincere, devoted people are walking around right now with deeply held beliefs about God that simply aren't true. And honestly, some of them are you, and some of them are me. That's not an insult. That's just statistics. So how do we tell the difference? How does anyone tell the difference? That's the question I had to answer before I could trust anything else. And the answer turned out to be more beautiful than I expected. I used to think sincerity was enough. It wasn't. For most of my life, I thought sincerity was the test of truth. If you believe something deeply enough, if your heart is in the right place, surely God honors that. And I want to be honest with you. There's something tender and good in that instinct. God does see the heart. He does honor sincere seeking. But sincerity isn't the same as accuracy. You can be sincerely wrong. I was sincerely wrong about God for decades. I believed He was disappointed in me. I believed acceptance had to be earned. I believed the gospel was good news for other people who were better at being Christians than I was. I was sincere. I prayed those beliefs. I sang those beliefs. I taught those beliefs to my own children. And every one of them was wrong. Sincerity didn't save me from a distorted lens. It just made me feel better about wearing one. So if sincerity isn't the test, what is? Truth is a three-strand cord. There's an old image in Scripture, Ecclesiastes uses it, of a three-strand cord. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. And I've come to believe that's exactly the picture of how God lets us find truth. Not through a single source, through 3 strands woven together. Scripture, God's revealed Word. Science, what God has made. Experience, what God has shown us and what we have lived. Equals harmonized truth. Scripture is God's revealed Word, what He has spoken into history through the prophets, through Jesus, through the apostles. Paul tells Timothy that all Scripture is breathed out by God and useful for teaching and correction. Science is what God has made. Paul writes in Romans chapter 1 that God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen in what He has made, so that no one is without excuse. The created world is the second book. An experience is what God has done in real lives. Yours, mine, the testimony of every believer who has tasted and seen that the Lord is good. Jesus himself invited Thomas, "Reach out your hand, stop doubting, and believe." 3 witnesses, 3 strands. And here's what I've found. When all 3 line up, when what Scripture says, what creation reveals, and what we've lived through agree, you can stand on that. That's harmonized truth. But pull any one of them out and the cord breaks. This is where most of the confusion in modern Christianity comes from. Not from bad people, from good people leaning too hard on one strand and ignoring the other 2. Scripture without science and experience leads to thousands of denominations, each certain it alone reads the Bible correctly. This is the danger of treating the Bible as a code to be cracked rather than a witness to be harmonized with everything else God has revealed. We end up with 1,000 sincere readings, each contradicting the others, each insisting it alone is faithful. Experience without Scripture and science leads to mysticism. Whatever feels true must be true. This is the danger of trusting only what we've felt. Feelings are real, but feelings can be wrong. Anyone who has ever been certain about something they later discovered wasn't true knows this in their bones. Science without Scripture and experience leads to a world without God at all. This is the danger of treating the natural world as the only reality. The created order is full of evidence of God's character, but the moment we cut creation off from its creator, we end up with a universe of mechanisms and no meaning. 3 strands, each one without the others breaks. Together, and only together, they hold. Truth is a cord of 3 strands. So when I tell you my perception of God was distorted, here's what I mean. I had been leaning on one strand and ignoring the other 2. And the moment I let all 3 speak together, that's when I saw something I want to show you now. Look at this image. Look at this image. Tell me what you see. Look at the lines between the rows of squares. Are they straight or are they bent? Almost everyone says bent. The pattern looks wavy. The lines look like they're tilting in different directions. Your eyes insist something is wrong with the grid. Now watch this. The lines were never bent. They were straight the whole time. The grid hadn't changed. The image hadn't changed. The only thing that changed was that something true, a straight reference line, was placed against the picture. The truth was straight all along. My perception had made it look bent. And this is the most accurate picture of my spiritual life that anyone ever showed me. For decades, I had been reading the gospel through a distorted lens. The gospel hadn't changed. God hadn't changed. Jesus hadn't changed. But I was seeing them through something bent, through fear, through guilt, through performance, through the belief that love had to be earned. And the only thing that healed it was the same thing that fixed the illusion, a straight line laid against the picture. Truth, Scripture, science, and experience together, laid against the lens of my heart. That's what this series is. It's a slow, careful laying of straight lines against the picture of who you think God is. Not to shame you, not to argue with you, to let you see what was actually there all along. If the good news has never felt like good news, there's a reason. I want to leave you with something I lived with for a long time before I understood it. Maybe you felt it too. You believe the gospel, you can explain it, you've probably taught it to other people, but somewhere underneath, it has never quite felt like good news. There's still pressure, still that low hum of fear, still the quiet sense that God is a little disappointed in you even when He shouldn't be. If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear something. It's not because the gospel isn't true, it's because the lens you've been reading it through is bent. In the next episode, we're going to look at why the good news never felt like good news for so many of us. We're going to name what the distorted lens actually does to our reading of Scripture, to our picture of God, to the way we live our Christian lives. And then, slowly, over the episodes that follow, we're going to lay the straight line of truth across the picture together. Reflect, question, stay with me. Professor Metanoia.